Hello again. Sorry about the weird camera situation, but yeah, I'm in my car right now because yeah, I've just been in a real tough spot in terms of trying to navigate all of my PTSD triggers being ignited at once over the last 6 months, and I'm burnt out, and this is quiet and slightly ominous looking with the lighting, and I want to give you an accurate reflection of my circumstances. Yeah, I think when I started my channel, I really wanted to be able to help people navigate what wasn't being talked about at all, which was that spirituality doesn't solve PTSD. It will significantly improve things, and it has for me for sure. However, it's not a free and clear pass. Additionally, having PTSD puts you at some serious risk of spiritual attacks in ways that aren't talked about like plainly. Like, it isn't always just like the bad guys are after us because we're the good guys. It is that, and it isn't that. It is also just your own field being emitted, and depending on what's happening in the broader field, it isn't like it's like having a car that is permanently in fifth gear and trying to navigate the same traffic as everyone else who has all the gears, and your car is burning out, and that's what it's like. That's literally what it's like. So I think it's been hard to talk about it. I know that I really had wanted to be very honest about what it was like to be homeless, what I've had to overcome, the weird things that feel like targeting, surveillance, and weird conspiracy shit that happens to people, and how that impacts someone who is spiritually attuned, hypersensitive, empathic, all the stuff, right? All of the clairs, and feels intimately connected to the divine, and is exposed to negativity, and how to navigate your own power in that dynamic. It is not cut and dry. It's not straightforward. Those are the things I wanted to talk about. My life didn't stop happening to me. And so it's been tough to, when I get feedback, if I talk too much about the negative things happening in my life, or not even negative, it's just, this is what it is. It sounds negative to people who've never been through it, but this is just what it is. And the venting of it, and the truth of it, and the blaming of it, it's part of the reality of it. But a lot of feedback when you share these sorts of things online to people, you can't choose your audience. It gets sent to everyone, sometimes purposely to people who are going to hurt you with the information, and so that's a lot of the, too much feedback that I would get, basically telling me to shut the fuck up. So it wasn't fruitful for my healing in any regard. And so a lot of the ways in which I felt like I could have been a voice for the community of people who are both impacted by extreme sensitivities and spiritual and subtle realms, deeply committed to their faithful walk without picking a team as it were, being one of those kind of like, just want God kind of people. And having to heal from significant trauma. So I had significant trauma when I was a kid. It has made it very difficult for me to see. The thing is that when things happen to you when you're a kid, no one tells you, oh, that is now part of your electromagnetic field. And when you attempt to create things and you build up your scalar wave, or whatever word we're calling it this week, it's imprinted. It doesn't go away. Things that are done, when damage like that happens to you and it becomes part of your record, every new thing that you imprint onto the field includes that. And we aren't taught this. We aren't taught that we have to work around it every time we create. Every time we create. And when you're little, and nobody even tells us we're creating, right? This is all brand new stuff. I'm 51 years old. When did I learn that my electromagnetic field was responding to my voice? 4 years ago. So my life is shambles. It's a complete shambles because a very bad man hunted me when I was a kid. I tried everything that I could. I have engaged with every form of treatment available to me that I could afford. And some have been very successful, but they need to be repeated. And I can't afford it. And it's mostly illegal. Like psilocybin. Things like that. Like you can't just do it whenever you think you need it. I can't go down to the drugstore. I can't book an appointment with a shaman. When I've had access to different modalities, it's helped. I'm in the stage of what I would call post-Kundalini awakening judgment. We're in judgment. Maybe not everybody's in judgment. Everybody wasn't in ascension. Everybody wasn't like talking to Jesus all the time and feeling like they're floating in the clouds, right? Well, I'm in the judgment phase now. And it is kicking my fucking ass. Sorry for swearing, but holy shit. Every single one of my PTSD triggers. And okay, and when I say PTSD triggers, what I mean is the event that scarred my soul has reoccurred in some fashion. And I'm trying to navigate it, and I think these motherfuckers are going to make me homeless, which is one of the worst ones. And by motherfuckers, I do mean that, because everybody is involved. Right? We are actors in each other's play. But you know how sometimes there's those actors in Hollywood that refuse. They're like, I'm not going to do that. It violates my morals and ethics. I'm not going to have a sex scene with another, female because I'm married. I'm not going to kiss them. I'm married. I'm not going to undress on camera because I'm a Christian person or whatever. That happens, right? I'm rambling, but to put it very swiftly and bluntly, when I was a child, my brother's space heater cord caught on fire. Our house burned, not all the way down because it was a early release school day, so they happened to get home. My grandma brought my brother and sister home. My brother and sister are 8 and 9 years older than me. Brought them home and was able to call the fire department, caught that the house was on fire. So it wasn't burned to the ground, but we did not get to live there for a few months. So I was effectively homeless for a little while when I was a kid. And while I was at my grandma's house, that's when I got the bright idea to go be a journalist. I think I was like 6. So I dressed up in a cute little skirt and top outfit, grabbed a notebook and pen and paper, and responding to the nudge, the voice in my head, the nudge to go get discovered, walked a block and a half away, walked where I was not allowed. So I was allowed to go in the front part. I wasn't allowed to like be as far away as I was. And when you're 6, these things matter. When you break the rules like that, you think you deserve the things that happen to you. A man tricked me. That's what happened. So these things, I got away, obviously. Another little girl, a couple weeks later, did not, in the worst case scenario. I've mentioned this before. This does not need to be brought up every fucking time. The thing is that I'm living in a place right now. When I moved in, when I signed the lease, no space heaters. When I came to move in and do the initial walk-in, there was a space heater in the utility closet. Do you want to see the utility closet? I'm in the garage right now. There it is. Hopefully you can see it because I can't see my screen now. That's my door. That's the utility closet. Sorry if I did that completely stupidly and you didn't get to see anything. I'll find out later. Now what have I done to this thing? I can't fix it. Just deal with it. It'll all work out here shortly. We're going to be fine. Maybe not. Maybe I won't be fine. Maybe I'll have to hold this stupid thing. Yeah, anyways. So in that utility closet, because I live in a cold state, and this is not a heated garage, it's a attached garage, I guess they call it. But they have a sprinkler system, and so they have to run a space heater in that utility closet in order to prevent the pipes from freezing. So you should know that in 2013, the winter of 2013, 2014, when I became literally homeless, this for the second time in my life, it was also due to a space heater situation where I was trying to save a feral cat who had kittens and ran a space heater. The electric bill went too high. Lots of confusing communication with the landlord, who didn't want me to be there anyways because my son was a big party kid and his friends would come over and it was a big mess. Anyways, so that was the catalyst for me losing that place. And so it has brought itself back again. And I had hoped that I could be clever enough, and I had hoped that I would have opened the channels to enough of my spiritual strength, support, guidance, team, the things wouldn't go as wrong as they have gone. Once I found out that there was a space heater, she said it was temporary. They were waiting for a furnace part. It wasn't until I called the city inspector, rental inspector, in March that I was told, this is how it is. It's always going to be this. They had installed a different space heater attached to the wall, which was an electric coil, didn't have a relay. And so what happened in other apartments is that it would just burn out. They're worried about their pipes. I'm worried about the place burning down. I have reason to worry about that. It is part of my whole symptom complex that my beautiful Kundalini awakening was not able to completely absolve for me. Because I have a whole history. It isn't just that one event. It is all of the events of my life. It is the whole personhood that came up around it. And it is the fact that this is part of some soul thing. Like, the Kundalini will absolve pain and trauma that isn't part of your very particular mission. These things, for whatever reason, are part of my very particular mission. I don't understand it. Like, I'm not a expert on all things beyond the veil soul, you know? I just know what I know. and communicate what I am allowed to. So, long story short, I have made tremendous effort. I filed a reasonable accommodation request. The first one was in January, to get the space heater removed. And then in March, I found out that the reason that they hadn't granted the reasonable accommodation request was because that's always going to be running every winter from the first freeze to the last. There's a multitude of other things happening with this particular apartment, like the walls banging all the time because the wood is settling, or this is the first 2-story and it's attached to a 1-story. So my bedroom is right at that roof line, and they didn't build this shit right. They built it as quickly as possible. It's a 3-year-old building. So they did it with the most cheap materials as quickly as possible. And the wood bangs. It literally bangs all the time. It sounds like someone is standing on the roof banging against my wall. So 6 months of very little sleep, dealing with some pretty huge triggers. There's no family around me where I live. I'm solely responsible for my son, who has now graduated high school, even in the midst of all this, so let's give me a hand for not completely ruining his life. So I've worked with housing advocate, tenant advocates because you put in a reasonable accommodation request. I have a real disability. I'm on Social Security for it because I have it comes with a whole bunch of neurological issues like hyperreactive startle reflex and, an ability to read a person's intentions and know when they want to fuck you over. And so it's hard to stay. Most people can't see that stuff. I can. Anybody else who knows what I'm talking about, because they operate that way, highly sensitive people. When someone's going to hurt you if they can, and if you've already been hurt, and I can't lay out 51 years of being hurt to prove that this is something that's happened to me. I did prove it to enough therapists and enough government-paid doctors to get put on, a benefit to offset the fact that I can't fucking work. Because I was going out to start my career when the man hunted me. Work in particular has been effective. And that's the way it is. I think I had called out to the universe to really fully, resolve this stuff and put it to bed. But it was the experience has been God, it really hurt when I was whipped with that belt. Let me have 10 people line up, whip me with a belt, and see if I can learn to tolerate the pain. It didn't work. It fucking hurts. So, so the landlords have not been willing to help. The doors don't lock properly. They're warped. They're literally warped. They know they're warped. They gave me some excuse about going after the manufacturer or builder to pay for the doors. So that's why they're not being replaced. But you have to pull on them extra tight and then kind of shimmy the key in there. And you have to push on them a certain way to get the key to release. And then wind just blows right through because there's big gaps because they're warped. Well, you could so easily stick a crowbar in there and crack open my door that, I have to take alternative methods for keeping myself safe. It just they're the kind of landlords that don't give a fuck, right? They just don't give a fuck. They're saving this millionaire $1,000. They don't care what it's doing to me at all, even though, I understand people are assholes. That's totally fine. Be an asshole. But we do have laws. And they're not following the law. And so this is where my brain is what I'm in Twilight Zone. Because Like I try to explain to someone, when you pull up to a red light, even if there's no one around you, do you stay? Do you stop for the red light? Because the vast majority of us do. And so it isn't like, well, I'm only going to stop at red lights if I'm going to get caught if I don't. That's how they are operating. They're not going to follow the rules and the laws that were established because we supposedly live in a democracy. I have to force them to follow the law. And if I can't somehow do this, there are people that run red lights. And because I've already been through so much, I cannot tolerate being in a ruin your life kind of contract with people who are willing to do that. And I have a voucher. I have a housing voucher. And so I attempted to move to a new county, get out of this place, get away from what has happened, try to get my nervous system to calm down, feel safe, reset. Because what happens when you're in this boat is you want to run. You want to run as fast as you can. You don't care about anything. I'm ready to leave every single thing I own behind. I'm actually calculating how much are they going to charge me for dumpsters. And is it worth it to just bail, just run as fast as I fucking can. I cannot tell you how bad I want to do that. I've tried to explain to people, like, PTSD becomes your map. The emotional experience of being abused, neglected, negated, threatened, harassed, intimidated. The dude that I mentioned this before said his son-in-law works for NASA IT. What is this supposed to be, some sort of mental manipulation of me? Because I'm a conspiracy theorist? Are you targeting my specific problems? I guess we'll find out together if God loves me. Isn't that the game? So I tried to move to a new county. We filled out all the paperwork at the new county, which is really just supposed to be here's our information. We are agreeing you can do gather whatever documents. My county sends my paper file. I'm already active. I'm already approved. I'm already eligible to the new county. The new county puts me in their system. I get the apartment. And she refused to believe that my son was going to college in the fall. The methods I offered her for proof, like the deposit we put down, like his admission letter, I offered to, communicate with his admission counselor and tell me what you need from him. I'll have him get it to you. She wanted him to drive 3 hours round trip to come into her office, to go into his college portal in her office in front of her. There was a bunch of stuff, but when you're in the presence of someone who thinks you're a scumbag and doesn't like you and is going to do everything in their power to prove you're a lying ass liar, that was her attitude to me. And because we have been so insulated in this town, because my son's a little bit of an all-star here, won all of the music award honors scholarships that are available at his school. I was a little shocked at being treated as if I'm a scumbag. It's been a while. So she triggered me. I've been triggered for 6 months. As triggered as I can be, before I really do blow up my life. I'm pretty much right there right now. I'm not sure how I'm staying. I do know how I'm staying. I'm staying because I can't do that to my kid. And that's essentially the only reason. Under any other circumstance, I'd be gone. I don't care. You must get away from the feeling because it is engulfing. And, that's the whole game. That's the whole game of PTSD, is pushing you via your emotions. And these were all my big ones at one time. Anyway, so long story short, I said, I'm not working with this woman. And I canceled the port, and now I don't have a place to go, and my lease is up in 2 weeks. Because that reasonable accommodation request, they approved. So now I have 2 weeks to find a place to live. And so, long story short, your trauma becomes part of your creation. You cannot create a reality in which you can. So let me say it a different way. As you are creating, if you forget, which we do on purpose, forget how our triggers manifest, the behaviors they manifest. I get surprised every time I get triggered. Every single time it surprised me, like, oh, I thought I had dealt with that. Because you learn to bring your body back into this neutral stance, and you forget how easy it is to go to these ginormous, huge, highs and lows of what PTSD is, the adrenaline that makes you want to run, and the crushing depression that leaves you hopeless and disconnected from everyone. I don't trust anyone. It's so hard to feel like I belong here and like anyone cares about me getting hunted as a kid. Like, for the rest of my life, I'm treated like I'm the criminal. Other people cross the line with me. They didn't pay the price. I do. Like, it is so unbelievable how these things work. The seeds that get planted and the possession of your life by evil. And you can't ever forget, so the whole thing with spirituality and the way people are like, oh, we're all one, it's oneness. And as soon as you tap into that oneness, then everything is bliss. And my body is one body, and it is a blissful body, but I still excrete waste from it. And I believe that is true of the living being that I consider to be the divine, holy oneness. I don't think there isn't, I don't think there isn't waste product in there. All of waste product is used for other things. But it isn't like the nourishing part. It's like the movement, right? So judgment is part of it. Looking at the negativity, looking at the polarity, looking at the totality. It isn't a matter of that just gets neutralized in this divine grace, and you don't have to think about it anymore, and no bad things happen to you. You have to confront each and everything. And this one is too big for me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Honest to God, I keep telling people this, and they're like, well, something always comes up for you. You always figure it out. I'm like, no, actually I don't. God does that. And this time it feels like I'm supposed to do it myself. And that could also just be the PTSD, because when I was a kid, I had to figure it out myself. I came in crying. Nobody did anything. I had to go right back out there and get the notebook that I left behind. So it's man, this incredible need for justice, for once and for all. Stop treating me badly. I swear to fucking Christ, stop treating me badly. It's crazy. You're being crazy, people. Anyways, I'll give you an update over the course of the next couple of weeks with what happens, because, like I've mentioned before, if I end up in my car, this is what we're going to be doing all the time.